This happened about 6 years ago when I moved to a new city for work. I was 19, broke, and just needed a cheap place to stay. I found this apartment online, really cheap for the area, like suspiciously cheap. But I didn't care. The landlord just said, previous tenant left in a hurry, but everything is fine. That should have been my first red flag. The place itself looked normal. Small living room, kitchen, one bedroom, but something about it felt off. Not scary at first, just quiet. Too quiet. Like the kind of silence where your ears start ringing. The first week was fine. I worked, came home, played games, slept. Then small things started happening. I would leave lights on in one room, come back, they'd be off. I blamed wiring. Then my phone would randomly be on the floor when I clearly left it on the table. I blamed myself. You always try to rationalize things at first. About 2 weeks in, I started waking up at exactly 3:12 a.m. every night. No alarm, no noise, just awake. And every time I'd feel like something was wrong, like I wasn't alone. One night I stayed still after waking up, didn't move, didn't even open my eyes fully. That's when I heard it. A soft sound from the living room, like someone slowly dragging their fingers along the wall. I sat up and listened. Silence. I got up, checked everything. Nothing. Door locked, windows closed, no one there. I told myself it was pipes or neighbors. Then it got worse. I started noticing my chair in the living room would be slightly turned when I got home. Not a lot. Just enough that you'd question yourself, like, did I leave it like that? One night I took a picture before going to bed. Chair facing the TV. I woke up at 3:12 again. Didn't move for a minute. Then I forced myself to get up and check. The chair was now facing the hallway. I didn't sleep after that. A few days later, I told my friend and he laughed it off, said I was just stressed. So I decided to prove it. I set up my old laptop to record video overnight. The next morning, I almost didn't check it. I don't know why. Just a bad feeling. But I did. The first few hours, nothing. Just me sleeping on the couch. Then at 3:12, I sat up, but the thing is, I don't remember doing that. In the video, I slowly sit up and just stare straight ahead at the hallway for almost 10 minutes, completely still. Then I stood up and walked into the hallway, out of frame. I don't remember any of that. The video kept recording. The living room was empty for about 2 minutes. Then I walked back in. But something was wrong. My posture was off, like my shoulders were too stiff, my head slightly tilted, and I wasn't looking at the couch. I was looking directly into the camera. I sat down slowly, still staring. Then, after a few seconds, I laid back down and went to sleep. I stopped the video. I just sat there staring at the screen. My heart was racing. I checked the timestamp. 3:12 a.m. After that, I couldn't stay there alone anymore, so I asked a friend to stay over. That night, nothing happened. No waking up, no sounds. Everything was normal. The next night, he left, and it started again. 3:12 a.m. But this time I didn't open my eyes. I just listened. That same sound. Fingers dragging along the wall, but closer, from the hallway. Then I heard footsteps, slow, heavy, coming toward the living room. I kept my eyes shut, pretending to sleep. The footsteps stopped, right next to the couch. I could feel it. Something was standing there, watching me. I don't know how long it stood there. Maybe seconds, maybe minutes. Then I heard something I'll never forget. A whisper, right next to my ear. "You're not supposed to be here." I jumped up, turned on the lights. Nothing. That was the moment I decided I was leaving. The next day, I packed everything. While packing, I noticed something in the bedroom closet. The back wall looked different, like it had been opened before. I pushed on it. It moved. There was a small hidden space behind it, just enough to crawl into. Inside, there were things, old cables, chargers, random objects, stuff that looked like it belonged to different people. And in the corner, there was a small pile of photos, all of the apartment, from different angles, living room, hallway, bedroom, and in some of them, there was someone in the frame, an old man, standing in the hallway, facing the camera, or, sometimes, facing whoever took the photo. I left everything there, grabbed my stuff, and got out. A few weeks later, I checked the listing again. Same apartment, still for rent, same price. But the description had changed. It now said, best suited for someone who doesn't mind being alone. I never went back, and I still wake up at 3:12 sometimes.
Second story.
This was about 15 years ago in an old apartment on the edge of the city. It wasn't abandoned, but it definitely wasn't somewhere people stayed long, the kind of place you rent because it's cheap or because you don't have other options. I had just started college and moved in with a guy I barely knew. Let's call him Max. The apartment was on the top floor, right under the roof. The ceilings creaked constantly, the walls were thin, and there was this permanent damp smell in the hallway that never went away, no matter how much we aired the place out. The landlord told us on day one, if you hear strange noises, don't worry, the building is old. At the time, that sounded completely normal. The first few weeks were fine. We settled into a routine: classes, late nights, video games, occasional drinking. Max worked remotely, so he spent a lot more time in the apartment than I did. About a month in, he started complaining about sleep. At first, it was normal stuff: waking up in the middle of the night, not being able to fall back asleep. But then he added something that stuck with me. He said every time he woke up, he was already staring at the same corner of the room. I laughed it off, told him it was probably just a habit or stress or whatever, but he said, no, you don't get it. I wake up already looking at it. That was weird, but I didn't take it seriously. We weren't exactly living the healthiest lifestyle, so it made sense that his sleep was messed up. Then small things started happening. Keys went missing, then showed up in the sink. My USB drive disappeared and reappeared in a jacket pocket I hadn't worn in days. One night we spent over an hour looking for the TV remote. We tore the place apart. Couch cushions, kitchen drawers, even checked the trash. Eventually we gave up. I went to the kitchen to get water. When I came back, the remote was sitting right in the middle of the table. Max hadn't moved. He was on his laptop the whole time. I asked him, are you messing with me? He just stared at me and said, I didn't touch it. Something about the way he said it made my stomach drop. We tried to rationalize it, bad memory, distraction, whatever, but after that, the apartment didn't feel the same. A few days later, Max said he started hearing footsteps at night. Not loud, not heavy, just slow, soft steps, like someone walking barefoot across the floor. I told him it was probably the neighbors or the building settling. He shook his head. They're not above us, he said. They're in the room. That's when it started getting to me, not because I believed him, but because of how certain he sounded. Then it happened to me. I woke up suddenly one night, except I wasn't lying down. I was already sitting up in bed, and I was staring at the same corner, the exact same one. At first, I didn't feel scared. That's the part that still bothers me the most. It felt normal, like that's exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And then after maybe 10 seconds, it hit me. Why am I sitting? How did I wake up like this? I turned on the light. Nothing. But after that, I couldn't sleep properly anymore. About a week later, Max left. He told me he was going to visit his parents for a few days, but he never came back. He texted saying he found another place and moved his stuff while I was out. When I got home that evening, his room was empty, completely empty, except for one thing. In the corner of the room, there was a pile of cables, chargers, wires, old electronics, even a mouse I had lost weeks ago. I was sure those things weren't there that morning, and some of them were Max's, things he should have taken with him. I called him, he said, "I took everything." I told him about the cables. He went quiet for a few seconds. Then he said, "Throw it away," and hung up. After that, things got worse. I couldn't sleep in my bed anymore. Every time I tried, I felt watched. Not scared at first, just observed. I moved to the couch in the living room, and almost every night the same thing happened. I'd wake up sitting upright, staring at the corner. Sometimes I didn't even realize I had fallen asleep. It felt like time skipped. So one night I decided to test it. I set my phone to record before going to sleep. When I woke up, I checked the footage. At first, everything looked normal. I lay down, closed my eyes. About an hour passed. Then slowly I sat up. But not like someone waking up. It was too smooth, too controlled. I didn't stretch, didn't hesitate. I just moved straight into a sitting position. And then I turned my head directly toward the corner, and I stayed like that for over 2 hours, completely still, watching. At around 3:17 a.m., something else happened. I stood up. The camera didn't catch the corner, but it caught me, standing there, facing something off screen. And then I took a step forward and stopped, like someone blocked my path. I tilted my head slightly, as if I was listening. Then, very slowly, I nodded and stepped back, went back to the couch, lay down, and didn't move until morning. I don't remember any of it, not a second. That was the point where I knew something was seriously wrong, but I still didn't leave, not immediately. I told myself it was sleepwalking, stress, anything logical. Until the morning, everything changed. I had a late shift one day, got home around 7 a.m., and crashed on the couch. Around 10, I woke up, and there was someone standing in front of me, about 4 feet away, an old man. But something was off. Not just the fact that he was there, but how he looked. He wasn't dressed like you'd expect. He had a t-shirt, sneakers, socks pulled up to his calves, and a baseball cap. He looked out of place, like he didn't belong to any specific time. At first I thought I was dreaming, but I kept staring. Seconds passed, then a full minute. I was awake, completely awake. And he didn't move. For about 3 minutes we just stood there, me sitting on the couch, him standing in front of me. Then, very slowly, in a way that didn't look natural at all, he turned his head and looked directly at me. Our eyes met, and I swear, there was recognition in his expression, like he knew me, or worse, like he had been waiting for me to notice him. Then he took a step to the side, another one, and just disappeared. No fade, no sound, just gone. I didn't stay another full day. I packed what I could and left that afternoon. Didn't even go back for the rest of my stuff until I brought a friend with me. And here's the part that still sticks with me. When we came back, I checked the corner, the one we always stared at. There was nothing there. No marks, no damage. Just a small, almost unnoticeable crack in the wall. But my friend pointed something out. He said, "Why does it feel like the room is facing that spot?" I didn't understand what he meant at first. Then I realized. no matter where you stood in that room. It felt like that corner was the center of it, like everything, the space, the angles, even your attention was pulled toward it. I never went back after that. Max never talked about it again. But a few months later, he sent me one message, just one. He wrote, "Do you still wake up sitting?"
Third story.
This happened about 10 years ago when I was still in high school. My parents had just moved to a smaller town and we rented this two-story house near the edge of a forest. It wasn't old in the usual sense, no creaking floors or broken walls, but it always felt unfinished, like someone built it and then left in a hurry. The previous owners had moved out suddenly. That's what we were told, no real explanation. At first, everything was normal. New place, new school, new routine. My room was on the second floor, right at the end of a narrow hallway. There were two other rooms up there. One was my parents' bedroom and the other was empty. Completely empty. No furniture, nothing. And for some reason, that room always felt colder than the rest of the house. Not dramatically, just enough to notice when you walked past it. A couple of weeks in, I started having trouble sleeping. Not nightmares, just waking up. Every night, around the same time. 3 a.m. or close to it. At first, I thought it was coincidence, but it kept happening. I'd wake up, open my eyes, and feel like something had just stopped, like I interrupted something by waking up. And every time, without really thinking about it, I'd look toward my door. It was always closed, but I'd just lie there, staring at it, waiting for something. Nothing ever happened until one night. I woke up like usual, same time, same feeling. But this time my door was slightly open, just a few inches, and I was absolutely sure that I had closed it before going to sleep. I sat up in bed and just stared at that gap. The hallway light was off, but there was enough moonlight coming through the window behind me to barely outline the doorway. And then I noticed something. The darkness in the hallway didn't look right. It wasn't uniform. It looked like something was standing there, blocking part of the darkness. I froze, didn't move, didn't breathe. After a few seconds, I convinced myself it was just my eyes adjusting, so I lay back down and pulled the blanket over my head like an idiot. Eventually, I fell asleep. The next morning, I checked the door. It was closed, completely. I asked my parents if they came into my room at night. They said no. That's when things started getting worse. A few days later, I was home alone in the afternoon. I was upstairs playing something on my laptop when I heard a door close. Not slam, just a quiet, slow click. I assumed one of my parents came back early, so I walked out into the hallway and immediately stopped. The empty room door was open. I was 100% sure it had been closed earlier. I stood there for a few seconds just looking at it. That cold feeling was stronger now, like the air inside the room was heavier. I don't know why, but I walked closer, step by step, and the closer I got, the quieter everything felt, like the house itself was holding its breath. When I reached the doorway, I looked inside, still empty. Nothing had changed, but the temperature drop was obvious now. I stepped inside, and right as I did, I heard something behind me, a soft movement. I turned around instantly. The hallway was empty, but my bedroom door was now open. I know I had closed it. At that point, I didn't even question it. I just walked back into my room and stayed there until my parents got home. That night, I didn't sleep. I stayed awake, lights on, headphones in. Around 3 a.m., I started getting tired and must have drifted off for a few minutes because I woke up again, and this time, my door was wide open, not slightly, completely open, and the hallway was dark, but not empty. There was something standing at the far end, near the empty room, tall, thin, not moving. I couldn't make out details, just the shape. And the worst part? It was facing me. I don't know how I knew that, but I did. I sat there, frozen, staring back at it. Seconds passed. Then slowly, it moved. Not toward me, sideways, into the empty room, and disappeared. I didn't leave my bed until sunrise. The next day, I told my parents everything. They brushed it off. Stress, new house, imagination. But that same evening, my mom mentioned something strange. She said she thought she heard someone walking upstairs during the night. She assumed it was me. It wasn't. That's when we all started feeling it. The house wasn't just weird anymore. It felt occupied. A few days later, my dad decided to check the empty room more thoroughly. He went in, looked around, tapped the walls. Nothing unusual. But when he came out, he said something that stuck with me. He said, "It feels like the room is bigger when you're not looking directly at it." We laughed it off at the time, but that night proved him right. I woke up again at 3, door closed, everything normal for once. I almost felt relieved until I heard it. A sound from the hallway, not footsteps, breathing, slow, steady, right outside my door. I didn't move, didn't make a sound, and then my door handle slowly turned, just a little, then stopped, then turned back. The breathing stopped too. I didn't sleep again that night. The next morning, we found something. On the floor right outside my door. Marks. Not scratches, not footprints exactly, but impressions. Like something had been standing there for a long time. My parents didn't try to explain it anymore. We moved out within a week. Fast. Didn't even argue about it. And here's the part that still messes with me. A few months later, I checked online out of curiosity. Trying to find anything about the house, I found an old listing from years before we moved in. And there was one photo, a picture of the second-floor hallway, taken from the exact angle of my bedroom door. And in the photo, the empty room door was open, and the room looked deep, not physically bigger, just darker than it should be. Like the light didn't reach the back of it, even though the windows were right there. I showed it to my dad. He stared at it for a while, then said, "Yeah, that's not how that room looked." I never went back, but sometimes, even now, I still wake up randomly at night, and for a split second, I expect my door to be open.